we have to create the right vibe, the energy, and everybody at the organization has to feel so privileged to be here. It's no other way.
Thanks for listening to the Purely Arsenal podcast. Please follow us on Twitter at Purely Arsenal FP for all the latest Arsenal podcasts.
Welcome to another edition of a Purely Arsenal sit-down podcast. We're here to review making the League Cup final, bashing Chelsea. They didn't realise they had to win the game, did they? That was hilarious. And we've also got to review first the 3-0 home win against Sunderland. But Arsenal 9 points clear with Man City having a game in hand. Of course, they play Liverpool at Anfield today. We'll talk about that a little bit, but 9 points clear for the first time since the 2003-2004 season. Good omen, Neil Shah?
I think so, Jack. It's getting closer and closer. I can smell it. Jack.
Wow, can you? I can't. All I can smell is the next game.
I can smell multiple trophies in my van. No, we do it one game at a time, of course, but it's such a great position to be in. Thank you for having me on, as always, my man.
Yeah, top man. I was so nervous. I think at the moment you're nervous going into every game. Yeah, I think all Arsenal fans are, right? And but going into this one knowing obviously big weekend, anything can happen. Anything, any weekend, but you have to do your job, and you were the first game up, so it was really important. And Sunderland gave us a lot of trouble earlier in the season. 2-2 there, a lot of trouble, caused us a lot of problems. Neil, not too much to talk about the lineup. Odegaard and Saka still not fit, so the team, I wouldn't say the team picked itself. Gyökeres rotated out, brought Jesus back in, and he went with Havertz over Eze in the role of the 10, which I think Eze himself should be a little bit disappointed with, to be honest, because I don't think if he's not starting in games like this against, lower half oppositions, in all due respect to Sunderland, when Odegaard's out, I think he should be looking at being a bit frustrated. But like we said in midweek, I think at this point Eze's got himself to blame just as much as anyone else, because he's not being impactful enough in games. And I think even when he came on in this game, which we'll get to, again, I have a lot of concerns about how he looks off the ball more than on the ball at times, and I don't think he's doing enough on the ball either. So frustrating, because he's such a good player and we've got to find him. And I'm not here to talk negatively about Eze. I think he is such a good player, but I'm frustrated we need more from him, but we'll get to that. Neil, the lineups, we'll talk about it a little bit. Early on in the game, I do want to talk about one incident. I mean, Havertz had a header about 2 minutes into the game. Really good cross from Trossard. But then they had probably their biggest chance of the game on the 8th minute, and they were causing us quite a lot of trouble from long balls. Every throw in they took long. No, fair play to them. Look, we try to utilise set pieces ourselves, but they're actually quite effective at them from all areas. They basically put Ballard up front for every set piece, and he's a real handful in the box. I mean, he impacted both their goals at the Stadium of Light against us. And the ball drops down. I don't know if you remember it, but I think Havertz, Raya makes a right mess of it and drops the ball. But Havertz does so well, I think, and this is where I wouldn't say this is where we missed him, but he's such an intelligent footballer, Havertz, because he sees the ball drop, and I think everyone kind of stops, and he's the only player to be aware and run back to the goal line. And I think Robbie's chance might be hitting the post or going wide, I don't know, but it doesn't matter because he puts himself in that position to stop it either way. And I don't know, I'm so thankful to have him back, Neil. I thought he was very good in this game. Again, not in his best position for me. I still think he's our best number 9 personally. But it's really good to have him back, and he's such a clever footballer, and he's so important to Mikel Arteta.
Hugely. Whatever he does, I think he's always going to be an unsung hero because of the poor start that he had, and I don't think that was his fault, to be honest. I think he took some time to find his feet, but my God, whether he chips in with important goals or assists or build-ups of goals, and then, yesterday or today for you, we saw his defensive work. And you're right, I think to be fair, it was going to go wide, but he didn't know that, did he, at the time? And I have to talk about Raya just quickly. I think Raya's fantastic. I still would say he's the prime goalkeeper in the world at the moment. I just think he's an amazing goalkeeper. There was an incident where he did an amazing piece of distribution work, and that's what he's good at. He's good at not only keeping us safe between the sticks, but also his distribution is a very, very good strong point of his. But today there was that incident, and there was another one where he had a miscommunication, I think, between Saliba himself and he just came darting out, and he just looked so lost. And if it wasn't for that amazing tackle or interception after Saliba had tried to clear the ball away from Gabriel, we could have been in trouble there again. But yeah, Havertz for me is just so important. He's another player that doesn't seem to he won't complain. I mean, he probably knows himself that he's better, more forward than he is playing as a midfielder. But he doesn't complain. He's a very consummate professional. And I think you're right. I think in a weird way, and I don't, obviously I don't mean any disrespect by saying this, but in a weird way, maybe it was a good thing that he didn't play the first half of the season, and he's come in the second half of the season almost as a new signing or a fresh player. And touch wood. I've got a big wooden table here. Touch wood. He doesn't fall foul to any more injuries, and he can see us right through the end. And if he does, he's going to be so pivotal, Jack. But he's so clever. He's so aware. And you're right, he's very quick. Although he's a big lump, I think he's quite a quick-minded player. Maybe his body's not as fast as his mind, but he does see things, as you said. And I just feel that he's a massive, integral part of this squad. So, yeah, very happy to see him back.
Yeah, no, he's top level, and again, gets in the right position for an assist as well in this game. He's able to. He's a selfless player at times as well, and he does a lot of the defensive work. His aerial ability, I mean, we're gonna need him because he's gonna cover a lot of the minutes Marino's not going to be there for, but also, I think in the big games you're gonna see a lot of minutes of him playing as our central man. I really do, because I think he links it all together really. I really do. So I can't really speak highly enough of Havertz, and he could have scored. He had what's really great. I mean, because I don't think we particularly played great in this game. Neil, it wasn't a great performance again, but it was a solid. Other than that one chance, it was a solid defensive performance. I think Saliba had a bit of trouble early on. In that first 30-35 against Robbie. He's really a good target man from Sunderland. You can see why they're in the top half of the league, aren't they? And they're having a fantastic season, because he's a really good foil for them to sort of pass balls off of, and like wall pass off of. And he was, what was interesting about Robbie is he basically attached himself to Saliba. He wanted nothing to do with Gabriel. And usually people don't really want to have anything to do with Saliba either, but he did. And I thought Saliba had a little bit of trouble with him in the first 35. Obviously he got booked. He just was getting a little bit too touch tight to him, I thought. But like Saliba does, I thought in the second half he kind of handled that really well, and Robbie ended up getting subbed off around the 65th, 70th minute, I think, and that was kind of the end of it. But it caused him some trouble in the first 35. Robbie obviously scored against us in the the equaliser against us in Stadium Light in the last minute, so we have the memory of that, unfortunately. But and then I thought Calafiori was also very, very sloppy at times on the ball. He looked like I'm hoping that's just a fitness thing. I don't want to delve into it too much. I really am hoping, just because he's such a good player. But I did think there was times where he looked like there was some tired clearances, some tired passes on the ball. It looks to me, I know he's only been out, I think it was only a month, but it looks to me he's not quite match sharp yet. We saw obviously against Carrot in the Champions League him give away some silly fouls, silly penalty, things like that. But we weren't creating a lot. It was a really stale game. We weren't creating a lot. It was frustrating. A game we've seen quite a few times before this season where we struggled to break down these deep blocks. But what I was quite encouraged about, even before the unbelievable goal by Zubimendi, who was my personal man of the match, but I can understand why people might give it to other players. But I think when you play against deep blocks, you've got to be really good with set pieces. But the other thing you've got to be really good at is taking shots from the edge of the box, and I think we're shot shy quite a lot. I really do. I think we're way too shot shy, and we've got players that can hit top bins from all over the pitch. And what I was really encouraged about in this game was not even just the Zubimendi goal, was in the first half, Rice and Havertz were inches away from doing the same thing. And it could easily have been one of them because they took the chance. They took the chance on. And I think sometimes you just got to take that shot. And even if you don't get that shot, on target, it can deflect, it can go into someone's pathway because of that. There's so many factors there. I mean, Lampard made a whole career out of it, basically. And I don't think he's as good as some of the players we've got personally, technically. So we've got to do that more often, Neil. We've got to be a little bit quicker when we know we can't muster up chances through clean, open play football because people are just, putting 10 men behind the ball. We've got to be willing to take those shots because sometimes they're so deep, these teams, they're basically allowing our central midfielders to be on the edge of their box. They really are. And that's really what happened with Zubimendi. But touch on his strike, Neil, because I think some people mentioned the goalkeeper here, and I just think it's a fantastic sort of grass cutter type of strike. It was fantastic. And I think that's his 6th goal for Arsenal, and he's never had more than 4 in a campaign ever. He's been a brilliant signing, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's fantastic. I don't think enough is spoken about him. I think everyone talks about other players, but not many people speak about Zubimendi, and I think they should. I think he's a fantastic player, and he's played the most minutes. I think I could be wrong. You and James are the stats guys, but I think he's actually played the most minutes for us. So he's definitely up there in the top 3 for sure. And just to touch on a couple of things you said, you're right. I mean, fair play to Sunderland. They're one of the teams that do actually have a go. They're not just sitting behind the ball all the time. They do have a go and they give it. They do try. But of course, they've also got to remember that when they're so dangerous, especially at home. And so they are going to sit with also at the times with a low block. And I think we have struggled at times to get through it. Certainly last season with all those draws. We thought that Gyökeres I'm still going to call him Gyökeres. I'll call him by his proper name when we won the title, okay? So there you go. There's a challenge for you, mate. Get for another 20 more goals. So, we thought he was the answer. Hasn't really started singing or playing the tune that we wanted to right from the off. But look, he's top scorer 2026, isn't he? So far.
Yep, 6 goals. And more than any other Premier League player since the turn of the year.
There you go. And he's starting to show that. And I think when you've got that low block, you're right. We've got to have, especially our midfielders, have got to take chances. Have got to. I remember back in the day, Ramsey used to have a go. I think Ray Parlour used to have a go. We always have, I think Wenger is the one. As it's just an incredible man. I'll always say. I always feel happy when I think about him. But he's the one that wanted this one touch and literally passing the ball into the net kind of football. But at times we used to get a bit frustrated and think, come on, just someone have a pop. Because like you said, you could get a lucky rebound, you could get an own goal off it or anything. Anything can happen. So I think you've got to balance your style of attack sometimes. You've got to have, you want to play that sexy football, you want to play that one-touch football, pass it into the net, fine. But we have players that can do that. And Odegaard is one of them too, Jack. Odegaard needs to be doing that more often. I think he could potentially become one of our best in terms of accuracy. Trossard and Marino and Havertz, they put the balls in the net. But I think in terms of accuracy, I think there's no one better than Odegaard. Because he does it with little effort as well. He doesn't do it enough, in my opinion. Please, midfielders, do what we saw today. Rice had a pop. Havertz had it. Rice's one was so blooming close.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it was a whisker away.
Really.
Havertz was slightly further out. Havertz, I thought, was a little bit lucky because the defenders just seemed to be backing off him and just gave him the space because he came through from the halfway point, didn't he? Or even just a bit further back. But Zubimendi's goal, mate, he cut across that strike. It was deceptive in my when I saw, because obviously I wasn't watching it, but then when I watched the highlights, I thought it doesn't look powerful. It was a beautifully clean struck ball. It was very well struck with great technique. But when I saw it, it's like it almost like skidded through off the surface a little bit. And I didn't think it didn't give the impression that it was that powerful. But when you look at what he'd done, he's kind of cut across it with his technique, and it was perfect. And sorry, why are people saying it's the goalkeeper at fault? There's nothing that the goalkeeper could have done. It was just a well-taken ball and right off the post. Perfect. What a strike. And, for someone who was not a big goal scorer, I think that's a bonus for us, mate. But midfielders take that shot outside the box, do it more often in all games.
Absolutely, and I thought he was fantastic. He had a highest pass accuracy at 92% as well. I thought he was really good in this game, and I think Declan Rice, as games go on and teams tire, Declan Rice always, comes to the fore really because he's the fittest player on the pitch. But what I really like about Zubimendi, he's not particularly physical, he's not particularly fast. He's just a really smart, technical player, and he's much smarter than Thomas Partey. That's the difference. He is much, much smarter than him in his positional play, and how he sort of filters with others, and what he has with. I never felt Partey and Rice had a partnership, but I do feel Zubimendi and Rice have a partnership. I always felt Partey and Rice played individually, and they kind of worked because they were both very good individually. But with Zubimendi and Rice, I feel they have a really good balance, and when one goes the other sits, and it's like a partnership like we used to talk about with Petit and Vieira, and Gilberto and Vieira and Edu and Vieira, and so on. And that's not easy to find, and football's about partnerships, Saliba, Gabriel, it is oftentimes about putting people together that balance each other, and I think they've got a really good balance, and I think it's improving. It's their first season as well, and you can tell by when Rice talks about him, he really likes playing with him, he really enjoys it, he understands how they can get the best out of each other, and he does really well getting forward, doesn't he? He does really well. He's very smart when he gets near the box. He makes the right pass, the right run, and the right decision more often than not. And this was a fantastic strike. But that is a big part of the reason I think it changed the game, because at that point I think they were sitting very deep. I know they were troubling us from set pieces, but that was basically it. At that point, they wanted to come out. They felt they had to come out at some point, and we just waited for that. I felt, and as we waited for that, more chances came about, and it was no coincidence after Zubimendi's goal, which I think was in like the 42nd minute, we should have scored again if Jesus just keeps himself an inch or two onside. And I know James was very upset with him. I watch it and I'm like, he's a little unlucky because he's right on the halfway line, but he probably should keep himself onside. Good ball.
It was literally his chest, wasn't it? That was offside.
Yeah, it was.
Something that did stop. Get off that bench, mate.
Yeah, exactly. Get off the bench press, man. Get off. Just keep doing seated rows, and you'll go the other way.
And look again, Havertz again with that pass. What a pass!
Yeah, brilliant pass. And obviously, Jesus doesn't score it, but it would have been a pen and a red card. It would have had to be. It would have been. I think it would have been a pen and a red card because he was the last man. So you're an inch away from that, and you look at it and you go, that would have changed the game. They also should have. I think they were lucky not to get away with another red card from Robbie, to be honest. That studs up to the shin of Zubimendi, isn't it? Very lucky. And if we want to talk about referee and stuff, we shouldn't, but right at the end, Gyökeres's third goal, the tackle on him there is probably the worst of the game, I think. It's dreadful. I know he's trying to stop us scoring, but he's not gone for the ball. He just dove into the player there. That's really reckless. Gyökeres is actually very lucky he didn't get a serious injury there. I think even more so than Zubimendi. So they're very lucky, Sunderland. I think, again, we do talk about bad refereeing decisions, but I think what the collective fails to do is I think we fail to talk about them enough when we win games. And I think the last two games we've had some absolutely dreadful decisions. And I'd go as far as to say, I don't want to go into the League Cup game too much, but I actually think the Martinelli penalty decision is the worst decision I've seen all season. I think it's one of the worst decisions I've seen in a long time, actually. If there wasn't any VAR, I wouldn't really talk about it because I'd be like, he must have missed it. The fact there was VAR and they cleared that because I think they claimed it was a continual movement or something. That is not a rule. It's never been a rule. It better not ever be a rule. That's a really bad decision.
Yeah, the linesman had clear view as well.
Yeah, it's such a bad decision. It's so bad, and it could have been really costly for us. And the other one is actually the other one was a stonewaller as well from Fofana, but that was a little bit more understandable why they may not give it, because handballs, there's so many discrepancies about handball. But it was, by the law as we know it now, that's a handball all day from Fofana. He stopped a clear header to Hancapi's head. But the Martinelli one is it's the clearest penalty you ever see in your life. It's unbelievable, and what frustrates me about it, Neil, is it doesn't get talked about. I mean, there's decisions we've had, that have gone against us, or that have been sort of, 50-50, and they've gone on and on about, and these are so blatant, and you won't even get, it will just brushed under the carpet because we won as well, and
Very true.
Why would Arsenal? And I don't think that's right. I think these are really bad decisions going against us.
What was the word they were using to describe it? What was that stupid thing? One movement or something?
Yeah, they're trying to... I think there was a claim that they're trying to get out of it by saying, it's part of the same motion in tackle. It's nothing to do with it. There's no rule that says that.
It's a clear foul.
It's unbelievable. And I think you can really distinguish, just the complete moronic fans and, that haven't got a clue about football just based off of their opinion on that type of decision. Because honestly, that's not a rule. It's never been a rule. So, and it's just, that is a really bad decision. Luckily, it didn't cost us because we still bashed Chelsea, as we always do. So that was fantastic. And we're in the cup final. And it didn't mean much to Chelsea. It's just all their players are still crying about it. So. Interesting. But yeah, anyway, back to this game. But yeah, 1-0, very important. And then obviously, after that, I wouldn't say the floodgates opened, but it felt like we do have this weird thing, Neil, where after half time we kind of go to sleep for 5-10 minutes. It annoys me a lot. I think we have a lot of goals in that 5 to 10 minutes before half time. I don't know the exact stats, but it felt again we went to sleep a little bit. They had a couple of shots from the edge. Raya saved and parried one. Again, something I think Raya usually catches, to be honest.
Yeah.
Again, I don't know if the weather and the ball and because it looked like the pitch wasn't great, as we've talked about offline. The Arsenal pitch is not looking great. But we saw that through, and which was really good. And then in the second half, we really, the subs made a huge difference. I don't think Jesus or Martinelli was particularly impactful in this one. And it seems like, at the moment anyway, our number 9s are getting their best performances from the bench. When they come on, they're getting these cameo performances from the bench. So Kai Havertz come on against Chelsea and do it. We've seen Jesus come on in previous games. I think
much better as cameo, in my opinion.
Yeah, much as a better cameo. And in this game, what was really encouraging was Gyökeres came on. You could argue he'd been dropped. I think maybe he'd just been rotated. He's played a lot of football this season, so it's no drama. But I actually think this was one of Gyökeres' best performances, not just because of the 2 goals. I mean, he only had a few touches of the ball, but I thought when he got the ball, his held-up play was really good. He kept it when as often as he could. And at that point, it was 1-2-0, and we just wanted an outlet. We just wanted to be able to link up play and continue to attack, because the last thing you want at 1-0 at home is to go in for that last 5-10 minutes of the game and be still be there. You want to see the game out, don't you? You want to see it outside, really. And his first goal, Neil, is a great move. It's a great move, and he gets his shot off early. Maybe the keeper should do better, but he gets his shot off early, which is something I've been very critical of him and our other strikers, but particularly him. In fairness, I have been very critical of him not doing that. I thought he did. I thought it's a great centre forward performance from him.
Yeah, again, it very much like the other one where he scored off his shin. He was almost falling down, wasn't he? But look, let's just take a step back a little bit in this build-up. I think we haven't really mentioned him, and I think he was key as well in this game, was Trossard. He was fantastic in this game. He really played well. He was integral to pretty much everything going forward. Obviously, he set up he was assisted Zubamendi's goal, didn't he? He passed it to Zubamendi, so he was involved in that. And this one, I think, he initially tried to get it to Havertz, and it didn't. And a defender got in the way, and then it somehow came back to him. And he recycled it back, didn't he?
Yeah,
if I remember.
It's a really good ball.
Yeah, but I think you're talking about Gyökeres, and he looked a lot better. I think I could be wrong, but let me see what you think about this. But I think him playing with Havertz has helped a lot. I think partnerships and relationships between players, as you touched on earlier, is so important. We've always had that one with Gabriel and Saliba, and we used to have the triangle between Odegaard, White, and Saka. I do seem to think that Timber and Saka link up well when Saka's fit. And I'm just wondering whether Havertz and Gyökeres could establish something when they're on the pitch together. And I think that could be key to some games, especially against some of the teams that are set up in a different way against us. But Trossard did tremendously well, and then Havertz obviously lays it off to him. But he's almost kind of in a falling motion, isn't he, when he scores? But it's great strength. I think that's what he offers, Jack. He's very, very strong, even if he's got defenders in close proximity trying to hound him and hustle him off the ball. He just doesn't let up. That's particularly shows in his hold-up play. And I think what's paramount for me and his change in 2026 is confidence. Because he's now starting to, when he started, do you remember for quite a while he had 3 or 4 goals at the start of the season? Do you remember one of them being a penalty or something?
Yeah.
But I think, and we were talking about it. So yeah, he's still kind of leading the newer, big striker signings of the season. So why are people moaning and having a go at him all the time? Why is he being, highlighted? But he wasn't consistent. And now I think it doesn't matter whether they're clean goals off the shin or whatever they are. He's putting them in the back of the net, and I don't care how they go on off his body. It's almost if it's not his hand, and he's doing that. And more than that, as you said, he's putting himself about. He's off the ball movement. I think is a bit more smarter, and he's more aware. But I've just got this feeling with Havertz, he could form quite a good partnership. I could be wrong, but I just feel there could be something there. But I think he was tremendous, and mate, I don't know. I feel so quite emotional about him. I really want him to do well, and I want him to keep scoring because I think he's probably had the most pressure on him than all our signings, Jack. And I'm not saying, Eze at the moment. I'm hoping he's become almost a bit of a Gyökeres conundrum where he's not finding himself quite yet. As you said, he's not even off the ball movement isn't good. We were saying all of these things about Gyökeres as well, weren't we?
Yeah.
I think I'm hoping he's having a lull. I don't know whether you see now I think back that hat-trick he scored against Tottenham. Sorry, I've gone a bit off topic here, but I'm just trying to. The hat-trick he scored against Tottenham, has it kind of was it now in a way a bad thing for him because he's kind of ever since then he's just diminished. It's like he's done his bit and like, oh, I've done that, so I'm untouchable. And yeah, look, you are a great player. What you did for Palace was unbelievable. Why? What's happening now?
I'm just that post-Villa mistake as well,
Yeah, exactly.
Then he was out of the team for a long time.
Yeah, I don't know whether that affected him mentally. You're right. He just needs to come on one game and just show us some magic, and maybe that'll just revitalise him again. But at the moment, Jack, I think you said it. I can't remember if it was in the pod or in the chat. I don't even know he's on the pitch, and it's a horrible thing to say as a fan about one of our players. But I don't notice him, and he's got to make more of himself. Yes, he had a shot which went wide in this game, but he's just got to. And I'm just hoping that what we were saying or thinking about Gyökeres is just what he's going through at the moment, and maybe he can find his footing again because he is a damn good player. Yeah. He's got to take the opportunities, and he's not doing it at the moment, I'm afraid. So let's see what happens.
Yeah, no, exactly. I don't think it did him too many favours that Villa one because he clearly lost faith in the manager for a few weeks, and now when he's come back in, he's sort of not being trusted at all out on the left wing. Although I think he did play a few minutes out there today, funnily enough, when Trossard came off with cramp. I think we moved him out there, but that was just sort of needs must because I think we brought Norgard on. What was really interesting, the sort of interesting moment, because I thought the takeaway from the Chelsea, not to go back and forth, but from the Chelsea game, like in terms of managers, because there was a lot of talk about the managers and, Rosinha doing his David Brent stuff and all that sort of stuff and getting upset before the game because players are on the pitch and stuff like that. It's just a wally. But I actually sat and rewatched that game because I found it such a fun game to watch, and obviously with the Havertz goal and stuff like that. And I actually think the genius from Arteta in that game was they clearly had a game plan which was to be really steady and tight, and then at 60th minute they bring on all their flair players like Estevao and Palmer and Garnacho and fast wingers that caused us a bit of trouble in the first leg. And what I found really interesting was, and I didn't realise it after the game, was he started with his best fullbacks off the ball in Timber and Hincapié. And when they brought him on, I think the presumption would be we're going to change some defensive players here, and he just kept it as is. And he went, I'm just going to stick with what I've got because they're the best off the ball players I've got in fullback position in Cappier and Timber. And I thought that was genius. When I rewatched it, I thought that was such a clever thing for Mikel Arteta to do, because he realised that these are my best one-on-one fullbacks, and if they're going to bring on their best wingers for the last 30 to go for it, we're going to shut them down. And he did, and he shut them down, and that's when we end up winning the game. So it was just really intelligent management, I thought. But in this game, I found it really interesting. In that period from 1-0 to 2-0, when in the second half we had that bit of a period where they had those few chances and lots of set pieces and silly fouls given away, lots of corners and long throw-ins, and I think we were all sort of going, can we change something, please? And he did, and he brought Gyökeres and Martinelli on. And I think he went to a 4-4-2 basically, and he put Martinelli on the right, and he put Havertz and Gyökeres up top as a 2, and that's what I think he did. And I was watching it just before the second goal, and I was going, it was only about 10 minutes, and I was going, he's gone 4-4-2. I mean, this is 4-4-2 all day. We've got Trossard and Martinelli as left and right midfielders here, and he's gone 4-4-2, and you just don't see it that often. But and it worked. Havertz and Gyökeres are both in the box. They've got 2 6-foot+ players with a lot of strength about them, and they combine, and it worked. I thought it worked wonders, and this managers can look fantastic in those moments when you make those types of subs. But yeah, like you said, it's a great sort of second goal. I think we do have to talk about Martinelli as well. Martinelli has his best goals and assist ratio since his first full season, I think, which was 19-20, when he had 14 goals and assists at a rate of 0.84 per 90. Goal and assist per 90. He's at 0.83 at the moment. Last season, just to put it in perspective, I think he was at 0.38, 0.45 the season before. So because he's not starting many minutes, obviously, in terms of Martinelli's goals and assists, he is actually the standout player for us, I think. I know he's second or third in the total list, behind maybe Gyökeres and Trossard, but he plays like half the minutes they do this season, and he comes on for Madueke. We put him out on the right wing, which is not his best position, and he's so good. He does so well, Neil. He's such a good. His attitude, I was saying, I think I tweeted, I think he's got, if you could bottle that attitude and put it into every player, that'd be it. Because look how many setbacks he's had, and from injuries to be fair, the manager sometimes calling him out for a missed chance and stuff like that. Mikel Arteta doesn't call out many players, but I tell you what, when he can, he subtly lays it on Martinelli, doesn't he? He would never do half what he does to Martinelli to Saka, let's be honest. And Martinelli, he shakes it all off. He could be not playing for a month, and he'll come in and he just gives absolutely everything. He's probably our most trusted winger off the ball, I would say. I think he's our best defensive winger, if you want to call him that. And he does so well for that third goal, because I think it's just a clearance from Zubimendi. I think Zubimendi just kind of clears it, and Martinelli makes.
No, it was Norgard. Was
it Norgard that cleared it? Why did I think it was Zubimendi? Oh, Zubimendi wasn't even on the pitch, was he?
Yeah.
Has Zubimendi come off already? Oh no, Zubimendi stayed on. Who came off for Norgard? Oh, Trossard did. There you go.
Yeah,
sorry, I'm way off. So yeah, it's a great clearance, but it's not really to anyone. And Martinelli just makes something of it, and he does so well and so unselfish, isn't he?
Mate. You know what it reminds me a little bit is the goal he scored against Chelsea a few seasons back, when he just ran through the middle of the pitch.
Yeah.
It really reminded me of that. And God, Martinelli, you're right. Did we not say in the last pod that he looked really good on the right? I'm sure we did. We talked about it. We mentioned that he did well on the right hand side.
Yeah, against Leeds, he was fantastic. Yeah. Got an assist for Gyökeres, yeah.
All right, I know we're already loaded there with Madueke and Saka when Saka comes back, but God, he's a really refreshing option to have there, isn't he? He really is. And this could be another option. You were talking about Eze, maybe looking a little bit better on the left when he has played. Maybe that's what the answer is for him at the moment, because he's not really doing what we expect for him, in Odegaard's place. So maybe that could be an option, and maybe throw Martinelli so we can rotate, because we've got Trossard, Saka, Madueke to fill in those positions right and left. Maybe we can try Eze and Martinelli left and right as well. But I thought he was fantastic. And all right, that it was almost a hit, just get the ball to safety from Norgard, but Martinelli picks it up so well, this pace. It's just so sweet to see that. And what he did unselfishly, I thought was quite telling of the whole game, because we had some other unselfish moments. Obviously we had the Rice and the Havertz shot, but there was a lot of, I thought Trossard was quite unselfish in this game, in the sense that he was doing all the orchestrating the moves for our attacks, which led to a couple of goals, or led to that goal, especially both the goals, first two goals. And then this one again, Martinelli, I thought was very unselfish. He could have gone straight for goal if he wanted to, but I think this is the kind of person he is that you were alluding to. I think he's a very, very he's a good guy. He's a good guy. He's not just a consummate professional. I think he's a very, very nice guy. And now I'm going to retract what I said a few pods ago about him pushing that player. I tweeted it. I shouldn't. I felt bad. I feel a bit bad now. You were absolutely spot on, Jack. I don't think he realised he was that injured. He didn't realise, and he thought he was just stalling for time, and he pushed him over. It's just not in his character, Jack. It really isn't. I think he's a good person. He's a gentleman. And he's a consummate professional all rolled in one. And I think he knows that Gyökeres needs all the help he can get. And rather than going for goal himself, he said, "There you go, mate, put it in." And what I also liked about Gyökeres, if you just watch it back, he stops himself just to make sure he's onside, which is what Jesus should have maybe potentially done in that chance in the first half. He stopped himself just subtly. You can see it, to ensure that he stays on side, and then it's just a tap in. And I'm so pleased for him. But I think, you talk about men of the match. Now, I know, again, he's a substitute, but he could be up there as well. Zubimendi, Martinelli, Gyökeres, they could all be man players of the match. They all could. And this is what's lovely, that when you can have multiple options. What a great finish, in sense of the tap-in. Yeah, tap-in is tap-in, but the work from Martinelli made that goal for me all day long. Fantastic.
Yeah, fantastic. And he loves the club. I mean, you can tell with his comments all the time, he loves the club. When he meets legends of the club, like here, he calls them that legend. You can tell he loves playing for Arsenal. And I don't know what will happen, in the future. I can't be deep down happy with the amount of minutes he's getting, but he's got a fantastic attitude. And the one thing I'll say about Martinelli, I've been frustrated with him in the past in terms of his finishing and his output and this, that and the other, but I've never been upset with his energy or his work rate. Never. And this is the issue. I mean, Madueke had a great performance last week, and this week not so great. And that it's that consistency. But also what it is, and the reason Martinelli, I think, when everyone's fit, will get more minutes than someone like Madueke, is he's trusted off the ball. This is the issue with Eze too. You've got to be trusted off the ball with Mikel Arteta. We know the manager now. We know there's nothing hot hidden about him. If you're not off the ball trusted, you're going to struggle to get real minutes with a team when everyone's sort of fit and firing. Madueke's getting it right now because Saka's not there, but will he get a lot of minutes if Saka's back and fit? I'm not sure. I think he's got a lot about him, but I still don't think he's trusted off the ball. When I watch Eze today, he comes on and there's just points where I'm like, you're doing really silly things off the ball. You're either going to sleep or you're giving away really silly fouls when they're only attacking set pieces, and you're giving away these silly fouls. And I just think, it's in Eze. Madueke's young, so possibly, but with Martinelli, he's had that since he first came in as an unknown player, 6 million from Brazil. He just came in, you could just tell he just had it. He just had that intensity off the ball. He wanted to defend for the team. And I think the off the ball stuff, to a certain degree, you can't really train it. I mean, you can to a degree, but there was never any training Mesut Ozil off the ball. It was never going to happen. Do you know what I mean?
This is what you were saying about Ethan, wasn't it? That maybe that's why he was.
Yeah, possibly. And the one thing with Ethan, I would say, is really young players, I kind of give them a little bit of a pass. I'm like 17, 18, maybe there's an intensity to the game that's going to take a little time. But when you see sort of 23, 24-year-old plus is doing it, I go, I'm
How
not
old is
sure
Martin?
you can learn that.
24, isn't he? Martinelli?
Yeah, I think he's only 24.
He's
maybe.
still young.
23, 24, same as Saka's age, isn't he? Yeah.
But he's only 20. So, he hasn't even really hit his prime yet. So if we can, this is crazy, isn't it? We were all in the pod, was it before the end of the last season or during the summer? we were all thinking that maybe one or both of Trossard and Martinelli can go. And look how pivotal they're being. Now, this summer, I don't want either of them to go. I know there's lots of names going in the air about forwards, and I know that we've got to think about the club first and foremost. But do you know what? Equally, both of them have done so much this season for us. Yeah. I'm like thinking, oh God, now I've got a U-turn. I don't want either of them to leave now. But it's crazy, isn't it?
The problem with it, and the reason even I edged towards the Trossard sale over a Martinelli sale, despite the fact Martinelli was much more would be much more higher value because of his age and stuff like that, was because of his profile. Martinelli, we don't really have a profile of player that can be trusted on and off the ball and has that transitional pace. You know, some people say Madueke's. I don't think he is similar like that, because he has. I see what they mean by he's a very big dribbler and he's a fast, whippy player, but he doesn't have the strength that Martinelli has. He couldn't have made that run. For Gyökeres's goal, there's only one player that can make that run.
Martinelli.
It's Martinelli. The only other player you could probably say could do it is someone like Declan Rice. Do you know what I mean? Because he's got that strength of speed. But there's not another attacker we've got that could have made that run. No. There isn't. They don't have the pace and the strength to go with it. Madueke, does he have the pace? Yeah, but he's not strong. He's nowhere near as strong as Martinelli. Pace without strength isn't really anything in this league. We remember that with Aubameyang when he ended up, going away because he wasn't strong enough in the end. You know, he was fantastic for a time being, but he actually wasn't strong enough to make his pace count. So I think he's so valuable, Martinelli, and he's so unique because the other thing, Europe. He's so good in Europe.
He's fantastic. Champions League it suits him perfectly.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. So,
more time, space, and it's perfect for him.
Yeah. So brilliant. I mean, brilliant win, brilliant subs, because when you get to bring on two subs and they get an assist and two goals. Yeah,
subs have been very effective.
Very
more effective than not, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's using the squad really well. Get a little worried that maybe, but Subamini and Rice are playing so many minutes, and worry a little bit about the lack of trust-ish with. I know Norgard came on, but could he have come on a little sooner? He came on for Trossard, which was hopefully just cramped, but can we be bringing him on sooner there at 2-0? Can we trust him to do that? I think we can, based on his appearances. Yeah, but he doesn't seem like he is. It seems like he's kind of in the Jorginho role of last year, where he's like, we're only going to play you if we have to, kind of thing. But no real complaints. Hopefully Trossard's one's not too bad. Sounds like Odegaard and Saka aren't too far away. Maybe we can have Odegaard back for the next one, which is a really big game away at Brentford, who are now, I think, joint 5th or something in the league. They're unbelievable, just beating Villa and Newcastle away. They look really good. That's going to be such a tough game. So we'll get predictions there. Just before we get predictions there, Neil, League Cup in the final. Fantastic win. Really interesting tactical game, I thought, certainly from Chelsea's point of view. I thought it was very poor from them, to be honest, but especially after spending 2 billion. Most of that's on managers, let's be honest. But Neil, fantastic to be in the final. Obviously, we've struggled in the League Cup, haven't we? A club of our size and tradition, especially in the domestic cups. I mean, we were talking offline about, I think, 30 years or so, plus 33, I think, ago that we last won it. So, it's still a long way to go. We've got Manchester City in the final. What were your thoughts on that, just before we get your predictions?
Yeah, I'm just so tremendously happy to have we've crossed that line to get there. Being there, I've got to say, the start of the game, the atmosphere was electric. It was amazing. They did this light show. All the fans were just in such good voice, and it was buzzing. And I actually really liked the seat that I was in. I was right in the heavens, but it was such a great view. You could really see everyone and their movement and what they were doing perfectly. It was amazing. But I again, I admit it wasn't because I think now on reflection, and you really spoke to me about this, that the way we set up was absolutely genius. It looked like a boring game. It looked like we weren't really doing anything, but there was a rhyme and reason to it. And I think I don't think he would have done that if it was 2-2 or we were losing. Of course we wouldn't. But because we had that 1 goal lead, I think he was able to, implement this way of, or this system tactically, and it worked like a dream. Just shut them out completely. Yeah, it wasn't a great watch, but I think for me and all the fans around me, and I suppose everyone there, we were probably getting frustrated because it was so bitterly cold and it was wet and raining. Everyone was soaked. And I think it's one of those where just a little bit of flair and a goal just lifts your spirits, and it kind of takes your mind away from the conditions. But because we weren't getting that, we were just getting colder and colder and sitting there
wait right till the end.
Exactly. I mean, great. I mean, it was a great climax, no doubt, and everyone went absolutely ballistic. The celebrations, everything. The floodgates opened, so just pandemonium. It was great. But Jack, look, we've won it. You know, we won it 1993 with that brilliant double over Sheffield Wednesday, which was again a bit of history for us. We broke the record, first ever club to do the domestic cup double. I know it's been repeated and replicated now over and over, especially by cities, but we were the first to do it. So shut up. And we did it without money as well. Let's just get that into perspective.
Yeah, corrupt money.
We got the likes of Stephen Morrow and Andy Linnigan scoring, for goodness sake. So come on. And they. Yes,
I remember.
Having to play FA Cup replays and God knows what else. Very different era. Very, very different era. You know, football did exist to the youngsters. Football did exist before the Prem. Bear that in mind. We should be doing more. I know we got to the final against Birmingham and Chelsea. I don't know how many other times we got to the final, but let's try and cross the line. It will be so important for the players to have a bit of silverware. They will have reward for their hard work. And I think this squad has really worked hard this season. They're so up for it. We haven't played dynamic, great, sexy football all season. We haven't. But what we have done is shown grit, resilience and determination. And you can see they're hungry. They're so hungry and they're so determined not to fail in the way that we have in the last 3 seasons and come runners up. They're determined in all the competitions. We're doing absolutely brilliantly in the Champions League. I thought we did brilliantly last season in the Champions League in the group stage. I think we lost one, didn't we? Or drew one? I think we lost one.
I think it was one against...
Did we not lose one?
In France it was against, not Lens, but it was, we did lose one at the group stage,
Right.
And then we finished like third or something,
Right. And this season we've done better than that. We've got an immaculate record so far. So we're doing well in all the competitions. There's that hunger and desire, and I love that. And I want them to be rewarded for it. We've got to try and do our best against City. It'll be interesting how he sets up. We're talking about the goalkeeper position, weren't we, a couple of weeks ago? I know it'll be a hard one for Kepa, but I wouldn't be averse to seeing Raya in goal for the final. But let's see.
I feel he'd probably stick with Kepa, but I agree with you.
I think that would be the moral decision and the right decision that way. But this is a cup final, and we need our best players, Jack. I'm sorry, we really do need. I don't care if people rubbish this cup, saying it's a little tin pot cup. I think in terms of what it would do for our squad and that momentum to go on and hopefully secure one of the big two, I think it's so important, Jack. It will really help us, and plus it just puts City in their place, saying, Pep Guardiola coming up with all that nonsense about Arteta. They're supposed to be best mates, aren't they? And he's coming out with all that rubbish. Show me your trophies. Well, we've got a chance to do that against him. Yeah.
He said that.
Show me your trophies.
We reaction to winning as well, wasn't it? He came out and started moaning about the rules of buying players and basically cup-tied rules which have existed for years, and they've been made more lenient this year. And he's basically asking for them to.
Really? 115 charges, mate. You're fine one to talk, buddy. 115 charges, which haven't been answered yet. Just shut your mouth, mate. I've lost so much respect for him. You know that. I really have.
No, that's fair, because I never had it in the first place.
No. You know what? You're a dickhead, and I'm sorry to swear, but show me the trophies. Yeah, we'll do it then. But do it in the League Cup final. And there's a chance that possibility, some will say we could end up playing them 4 times. So there's obviously Champions League, FA Cup, and one more league. Because we could play them in the Champions League. That we're kind of on that side of the draw, supposedly, that we don't really know who we've got yet. FA Cup's possibility. Yes. Oh, geez. Then that would be 5, I think, then. Flipping heck. I mean, take one at a time. And can you imagine if we do 5 times and win all 5? Yeah, we'll show you the trophies. 2 fingers up at him. Brilliant.
Fingers crossed, mate. Fingers crossed. Well, obviously they've got a small matter of a big game tomorrow. Also for today for you. So let's see what happens there. What's your predictions for us though? Because it's all about us. What's your predictions for Arsenal away at Brentford on Thursday? Going to be a really tough game. They're on a great run. Their manager's doing fantastic well. They're a really, really tough team this season, and at home specifically.
I'm nervous about this one, Jack. They are very good.
Yeah.
They are a very, very good side, and they have given us problems in the past. So, mate, I don't know how he's going to line this one up, but jeez.
It's going to be a Havertz-Gyökeres combo, isn't it?
I hope so.
I think it will be.
I hope so. I'm not averse to that.
No.
2-1. 2-1 Havertz. Come on, Havertz, get a goal. I know he scored in the League Cup, but get one. He deserves one. Get one. Havertz 2-1.
Yeah, like that. I'll go 1-0 Arsenal.
Yeah, it's going to be tight.
1-0 Arsenal. Gyökeres. I'll go 1-0 Arsenal. Gyökeres. Yeah, let's go with that. Let's go with that. But yeah, massive game. Yeah, absolutely massive. I don't know when everyone else plays. I haven't looked at the midweek fixtures whatsoever, but I know we play Thursday.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a little. I mean, I assume there's games on Wednesday, maybe even Tuesday. So it gives us a little time because we've had so many games, obviously. But yeah, we've got to deal with them. I mean, we hopefully can rotate to. Obviously, Odegaard should be back. It sounds like he should be back for that one. You know, Hincapie can come back in. Gyökeres can come back in. I don't see him changing much more though. Beyond that, you know, it might be 3 changes as a maximum. So
is it in the FA Cup on the Sunday after that?
Yeah, Wigan. Yeah. So that's where he'll do his heavier rotation, obviously.
Yeah, I think so.
Won't rotate much for Brentford, but you know, we'll see in terms of how the players react to this one. Gave a lot again. The pitch doesn't help. I think heavy legs on that pitch. It looked like the Arsenal pitch was cutting up a bit, so we need the groundsman to work their magic on it a little bit, don't we? But obviously this game's away, but take either of our results there. Great to be in a cup final. Great that Havertz scored the winner. Loving that. He absolutely loves Arsenal and hates Chelsea, doesn't he?
The little celebration, mate.
And imagine winning something so big for a club like that we won't talk about, and then despising the club after it. That just shows how soulless a club is, doesn't it? I mean, can you imagine a player, fingers crossed, winning such a big title with us and not remembering us so soon fondly? Can you ever imagine that? It wouldn't happen. It wouldn't happen. That's the difference between class and absolute
classness.
Nothing. Yeah. Exactly. I mean, we all know it, but it's just the epitome of it. It's just absolutely, the corruption in them. But it's disgraceful. But a fantastic win in midweek. Fantastic win this weekend. Fingers crossed for today, Neil. I know you'll be watching with one eye, both eyes maybe. I'll try to keep an eye on it and keep my fingers crossed for a positive result in Arsenal's favour. But we'll be back at Purely Arsenal FP on Twitter, at Purely Arsenal on YouTube. Just type in Purely Arsenal and subscribe to us there. That would really help. Thank you for all your likes and comments and listening to us on YouTube or anywhere you do, Spotify, Apple. We appreciate it. We'll be back after hopefully another couple of wins here. Fingers crossed. Keep the faith up, the Arsenal. Thank you, Neil.